Start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you all for carrying on while I wasn't here. I probably had more fun than you did.
You didn't really miss too much.
Okay, what are we doing? Pledge of Allegiance. Alternates? Thad? Thad for who?
The only
Mike?
person missing is Michael, and he's an alternate, so we're
So, can't do it. Sorry, Thad. Public participation, if there's anything not on the agenda anyone would like to discuss, now would be a great time to bring it up. No? Okay. New business. Application 1738, 228 Burr Road. Mr. and Mrs. Cotter. I don't think we have to do anything with this, do we?
No, we're just accepting.
It's automatic. It's accepted. Old business, application 1735, 261 Lakemere. I don't know anything about
Spence.
this, so if someone could.
We have to make a motion to accept we have to make a motion to accept the application.
We do? When did
Yes.
that start?
We've always done it like that.
They're accepted automatically,
Okay.
because there's nothing to do with it. It's just there.
Oh, or you just make a motion to accept the application is how I have it in the previous minutes. But if you want
Okay,
that, yeah.
well, we'll do that, but I think we'll discuss that.
Okay,
Because I don't think we need to do it.
okay.
So I'll move to accept the application if no one objects. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? There you go. Okay, 1735 Lakemere Drive, Millings. I guess this is a maintenance issue, actually. Is there somebody here representing the homeowner? Or somebody who knows something about it?
I'm on Lakemere, but I'm 261.
Yeah, that's what this is.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's application 1735 for 261 Lakemere.
Would you like me to step up?
I would, please. If you could give us your name, and we have your address, but give us that too.
Nick Costafari, I came last meeting for the application, just because I have a path down to my dock. Everything was pre-approved when I built the house. I just want to add new millings, do a little wood chips landscaping, and add a riser to my septic system. And they're doing a little guardrail too. I came last meeting, we did a site walk, and I'm here to answer any questions.
What's the riser to the septic system?
I have a septic system. It's a new construction house.
Okay.
So I have my septic system in the millings. I have a plot plan, if you'd like to see that as well. That will show where the septic system is. I just want to put a riser, so when they come pump the tank.
You mean literally to, off the tank so you can get access to it?
Correct.
Oh,
That way I don't
okay.
have to disturb any,
No, I know. I have
They'll have
seven
to dig it
miles.
up every time they come.
Bingo.
If you, is it come actually above the ground?
A riser?
Yours? Yeah, mine doesn't. Mine's actually at ground level.
It will be at ground level because it's in my septic tank. I submitted a plot plan that shows it. If you look at that plan, my tank is literally right in that path. So my riser will sit
okay.
right on that path. It'll be level with the path, easy peasy when they come.
That's
pump
great.
it out.
That's a great way to do it. Good. Did we have a site visit?
Yeah, so, Michael
Okay.
Loring and I went, in May. It was a little steep for me, so he went and checked out the areas, took photos, and from what I saw, everything seemed to be low impact, no digging, or heavy digging, no heavy machinery. And the path actually stops about 40 feet before the Housatonic River,
Okay.
so they're not getting too close. It is very steep in that area, so we just suggested putting up erosion controls at the bottom to ensure any type of disturbance doesn't make its way down to the river.
Okay.
Pounding the guardrail in, or is it
Just
just
a
a?
post hole there.
Oh,
Just
okay,
sticking-
so-
It's literally, the guardrail's only going on the top part, so I think there's 5 posts. That's
Okay.
it. Southbury Yard Restoration is doing the work. They do work for the town. If you guys want silt fence, I can have them put that in as well.
Yeah, we're gonna need some erosion
Not
controls.
a problem. You just let me know where you guys want it, and I'll do it. I'm a builder by trade, so just let me know.
No.
what you guys want.
what I think we would like to have you do is mark this up
I submitted a plan with
With the
yeah, I'm not sure.
erosion
if you wanna
controls
hear
on
this.
it,
Huh?
with the erosion
No,
controls.
where I was gonna do all the work. But yeah, if you can mark where you want the erosion control, that'd be great.
I haven't seen it, so I can't do that.
Okay, anybody actually seen it, wanna mark it?
Yeah, I mean, when we were, I know we talked at the end and
What's-
we discussed having
Let me know
them
Where you want it.
like towards this bottom area just to
You got
catch
it.
anything.
I'll do it
Let's,
the whole bottom way, that
yeah,
way if anything
that's
goes off,
good.
it catches.
Mhm.
What I'd like you to do is mark this up, what you'd like to have done, and then if you could initial it, that way we have a commitment, and we can, you know,
Yeah,
give
and
you a
it's
really hard
also
time if you
in
don't do it.
the resolution.
If you see my house, I do everything the right way.
Good,
Yeah.
yes, that would
I
help a lot.
also put the erosion controls in the resolution as a condition, so it's stated in there.
Very good. That works for me. Any other comments, suggestions? No, Dan, you okay?
Motion to approve application 1735 according to our draft resolution.
We have a second? Donna seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much and good luck.
Time, thank you.
Be careful of those post hole diggers, they're tough.
Oh, I'm not doing it.
Smart man.
Exactly.
Okay, next item is application 1736, 1200 Main Street North.
But there's no way in hell no one's gonna go. You want me to put it right here, right by the path?
I haven't seen any of these site reports.
Yeah, that's good. And then date it to, 11th.
It's the site.
Yeah, and then whenever you're done, if you could just shoot us some photos, that'd be good.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, we actually have to keep.
Plans, I haven't
Yeah,
seen that.
sorry.
Yeah.
If you want to take a picture of it, you can.
No, I know. Are you guys gonna say?
1200 Main Street
Thank
South.
Jada, do we have
Oh, that's north.
plans for this
Well, it says
Which one?
south on there. Is it
1200
north?
Main Street
It's north here.
North? We're not familiar with the property.
Yeah, this is another site visit that Michael and I did.
You gotta tell me it's supposed to come to the meeting.
Is that Main Street north or Main Street south?
Main Street South.
South, right? Because this says north.
Yeah, on our agenda.
Oh, it does it?
Says
This
north, one
building,
says south.
this building we know.
It's north.
North?
It's north?
No, there's nothing there.
There's nothing there.
It's gotta be
Oh,
south.
it's south.
South,
It's south.
sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, it's south.
Yeah, this,
Okay.
this building we know. Okay.
So the agenda's, okay.
There's nothing to this. Didn't we already okay this as part of the site development?
Apparently not.
Apparently
I
not.
wasn't here when that, final vote or whatever was taken on that, so I'm not too familiar with the.
So,
Pending
I mean, I can
outcome
give
was.
you a breakdown of the site visit. It was
We've
pretty
all been to the
straightforward,
site. We all
yeah.
know the site. That's a good
Everything's
question.
cleaned up. Yeah, I mean, there is a few things, but not, I'd say 95% of it
But
is
nothing
gone.
significant.
Oh, yeah, they did it, I mean, as cleaned up as it can be. I don't know, they didn't like landscape it, but yeah, it's all cleaned up.
I guess the only question, the real question I have is, this area they're paving has already been paved, correct? They're not expanding.
No, it's a previously paved area that's just being repaved. It's like, it looks like gravel at this point, it's so old. And the only thing that I saw,
Is this on the front of the building, right along?
The whole side.
it's like the
College Swamp, or
the
the back?
side,
the
the
north
back
side of
side
the building.
area,
The back of the building.
The whole
yeah.
thing, basically all of it.
Oh, wow.
This is the building.
This is it, okay.
All the gray area.
This
Yeah.
area, the other area in the front, I think
They
has
already
already
did.
been done.
This they did, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are they gonna tear it
Oh,
up
I think this is the
or just go
gentleman,
over it?
the applicant, yeah, for 1200 Main Street.
Could you come up and tell us who you are, please?
Sure. Mike Pompey, 1200 Main Street. In reference to the asphalt repaving.
Yeah, I guess the question which I just asked is, are you gonna tear up what's there or just repave it?
Where necessary, tear up what's there and pave it if necessary.
So I guess the question for that then is, if what you're tearing up, have you picked an area to put that debris before it's picked up and taken off-site?
Oh, sure, the site's big enough that we can put it off to the side, yes.
And we don't want it anywhere near the edges of the property, because if it gets rained on, it's gonna leach hydrocarbons into the water.
Sure, the property's big enough that it, off to the side, and it won't leach out. I mean, we could put some silt fence around it
And I
also.
need to put something around it.
Sure.
Hay bales or silt fence or something.
Sure.
Hay
That
bales will
silt
probably be
shown
better.
on there by the pond
Back there,
anyways.
yeah.
Yeah, that was something that was discussed during the site visit.
Existing catch basin.
The silt fence wasn't all the way
How
as
is all
depicted, but he sent photos today showing that he extended the silt fence to what the site plan says, so.
Guess not.
And this is not like an engineered plan or anything,
No,
I guess.
Is there more than one catch basin on site, and where's the stormwater going? Because that catch basin isn't gonna be able to handle it.
There's one, it's existing, there is one,
This is only gonna handle this.
This is from here that way, it goes down to that swale. Remember the swale?
Remember we had them
Yeah.
redo that? Now it's to be the buffer that was supposed to pick up the stormwater from here.
Yep. I mean, it's all sheet flow in that direction anyways.
Right.
I mean, it is gravel and broke up pavement, but,
Yeah, well,
That's where it's
if
going
they're
either
gonna
way.
repave it, it won't be broken up.
yeah.
It's gonna really flow right straight off. Right.
Do you guys want to see a site plan?
You thinking, well, we didn't, when we approved the development, we didn't require any additional stormwater controls.
Nope.
So I think we're kind of too late for that.
Well, I mean, and you gotta consider this is pitched down this way. I think this is really only catching
Yeah.
what's
Do you-
right there.
We're trying to figure out where your water's going. The water going from which way is north? This is north, right? It's going west, is gonna go into the swale. But at the waste of the parking lot that you're gonna be redoing, there is a catch basin. Do you know how much of the paved area below that goes that way, and how much goes back toward Hollow Swamp?
it's probably, probably 3/4 going to the catch basin and the other quarter's going
So
to,
this bit here is going to that catch basin, cause it's 165, 164, 163. So that's,
So it's gotta be going that way.
yeah, at least half of this
Yeah, he
area.
said- He said 2/3 or 3/4.
Yeah, something
And
like
that
that.
kind of makes sense.
it's probably 179 to 176, it's going towards the, Bob Morse's,
And that's
towards,
still, it's all going that way.
Yep.
So everything on the site goes that way. I don't really have a problem with it. But what do you think, Carl?
I don't remember too many of the,
Down in this area, it's already got quite a bit, I mean, it's paved for sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
Up,
it
you know,
is.
this whole area is broken up from what I remember.
So what I remember here was just,
Phragmites.
well, yeah,
Pushed it all off
phragmites
into
and just, like chopped rock on the bank, cause they
Yeah,
they
there's a-
filled
there's a
this
lot
and
of-
then they chop rocked it.
There's a lot of debris, stone along that west side. We put that in there for exactly for this reason, because that's where the stormwater is going,
Okay,
as I recall.
so we're assuming then that any, sand or silt or debris is gonna flow down and get caught in that channel?
That's how it was originally planned, yeah.
Is there,
And this isn't changing anything, it's just putting a top coat on
right,
what's already there.
so I mean, there's gotta be some sort of maintenance of that channel. So what they're concerned about is all that water goes down to that swale in the back.
it's all riprap, there's all riprap all around it.
But there, what I'm saying is there's some sort of maintenance there. If you have a lot of runoff and a lot of stuff come off the parking lot in there, there's gotta be a way to
It's
clean
gonna
it
have
out,
to be cleaned out.
there isn't-
periodically.
There isn't really a swale there, is there?
They
There
did,
was
they
a-
built one,
There was a ditch there for sure.
they dug one,
Outside of the water course?
yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't
Right
see
off the
that.
Yeah, right off the
Right
edge
off
of
the
the.
edge of the paved area.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Well, the
that
parking
whole-
lot will be maintained, there's gonna be no debris in the parking lot as far as papers or any kind
Oh,
of,
no, we understand that, we're just trying to figure, Carl wasn't here when the original application had to do the work, and the rest of us don't remember it, so.
This is gonna be all loading dock or bay doors in the back? Or
There's
you,
bay doors and there's a loading dock there, yes.
yeah, there currently is.
Yes.
Not adding any more to it. I
No,
guess.
we're not doing any building, no.
Okay.
Just resurfacing the,
Yep. Yeah, I think, maybe some more sheet flow into that ditch is probably the worst part of it. It's all ending up there
You're
anyways.
getting it now anyway.
Yeah.
It's really not gonna make any difference.
When you think about
It's already full of riprap and asphalt and concrete.
all kinds of stuff.
Hello?
Just as a point of order, just to remind the commission, when this first got brought to our attention, there was a lot of storage issues, and the main push for this property and getting the violation notices out and getting corrective action done was to clean up the property.
Yep.
I did come late to the conversation, however, the representation that material can be just stored on site because the site is large enough. I think it would behoove the commission to make it mandatory that any material that's getting milled or removed is thusly removed from the site.
Yes,
We had issues with the adjoining property owner regarding stockpiles being too close in proximity to an adjoining property outside of the wetlands issues in addition. So keep that in mind when you guys are thinking about this, I would say.
yeah,
Well, I guess, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll grind it, as a sub base and then pave over top. I don't know what your construction sequence or who's you're having doing it or whatever, but.
well, right now, a good portion of it is asphalt now. It's kind of broken up a bit, but if it has to be removed, either we're gonna, I don't think we're gonna grind it up on site. We'll probably just take it off the site.
Okay.
But then there's a good portion that's all base already.
Okay.
I mean, this was paved already, and then I went ahead and, ahead of coming here, just started, putting base down and removing what was there, you know. But now, at this point here, it's a good portion of it has base on it, and the other portion has a, decaying asphalt. So where needed, we will remove or we'll go on top.
I think we should add to the draft resolution that there will be a designated area to handle any excavated or dug up material, and that it will then be removed promptly.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're trying to avoid is just having a pile of
Sure.
asphalt there.
Yeah.
And
No, the idea is I'm gonna improve the property and having a big pile of asphalt sitting there after the job.
We're not trying to
Definitely
make the job any harder, but just if we have it in here, then there's no issue.
Sure, absolutely.
You know, you're gonna mark it out, it's gonna be,
and get rid of it.
put hay bales
Yes.
around it, and then when you're done, get it the hell out of there within
Sure,
a
absolutely.
reasonable period of time.
That's the intent.
So let's make that amendment. I will
So
move that we make-
erosion controls around the stockpile,
Yes.
not just in the swale, but around the
Yeah.
stockpile itself. Okay, I'm happy with that.
There's nothing you can do about the stormwater runoff without leaching stuff out of it.
Yep, getting it out of there as quick as
Yeah.
possible is.
Okay, so how about this? I'll move that we amend item 10 in the resolution, draft resolution, by adding, and then erosion controls shall be installed around all stockpiled materials. That work?
Yep.
Somebody like to second that?
I'll second that.
Okay. That will be done. Okay, on that note,
Do we need to vote? All in favor?
let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I made the motion.
I second it.
You seconded. Thank you. Thank you very much. and good
Thank
luck.
you.
That's yours. Next item is application 1737 River Road. Mr. Leonard, you would, give us a quick rundown on that? Please identify yourself just for the record.
Good evening. I'm Blake Leonard, your Public Works Director.
And who's your
Jerry Giroux
sidekick?
from Cardinal Engineering.
Thank you.
So thank you for having us tonight. Just to share a couple of functional goals about this project. Our goal is to stabilize the road on a monitored, we want to stabilize our riverbank and road and open on a monitored and limited basis, allowing for emergency egress and user convenience. Second goal here is to provide secondary access and egress during our Purchase Brook culvert replacement, still scheduled for July or August. We're glad to answer any questions tonight and look forward to moving forward.
What are the emergency repairs, just briefly?
In layman's terms, simple terms,
That's best.
so let's remember, it's not all of River Road, it's not River Road in its entirety. These are certain failed areas, and this scope of work relates to the failed areas only. Our goal is to remove the existing pavement and any non-conforming material below that pavement, adding new drainage, including catch basins and curtain drains, installing structural retention system on the uphill side, repacking that subsurface with the proper material, installing new pavement and guide rail system. And please note the traffic controls, lane sizes, weight restrictions, permitted use are all still to be determined over time, and that will evolve over the construction period.
It's falling down, isn't it?
It's really eroded.
Literally falling down.
There's quite a bit of asphalt there, if you see in that one picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 3 feet
3
thick
feet
in
thick.
some places.
Was it sudden? I've driven on that road,
I've seen it, it's been cracked for a while.
It's been,
All the times I've been over it recently anyways, you see that crack in the asphalt, and I think it kind of sinks, and then they kind of
fill it up.
put another course on there, and another, and
I was oblivious.
It's a very difficult location because
I don't think
a
there was
couple of
a,
different reasons.
Yeah,
The steepness is part of it, and the river
Yeah.
is part of it.
well, going up
And
and
they're-
down, saturated, unsaturated,
Yeah.
constantly,
Yeah.
it just,
Like, can
There-
it really fix it? Can it really?
building
fix?
materials can only handle so much.
I haven't really looked at the plan, but I asked a lot of questions during our site visit, and they were very patient with all my questions, and I appreciate it. So part of the problem is there's a lot of water that comes off the upper hill. The east side of the road has some drainage installed, but not really enough. So they're going to do what they can to stabilize that bank and improve the drainage on the uphill side of the road to try to keep the water from going underneath the road. Then they have to remove all the pavement, pack down the sub layers a couple of times in order for it to be strong enough to support the new road bed. And then there's the drainage that they're installing. There'll be a couple of outlets going down to the lake, and this time they'll be putting drop manholes in them, because that is also part of the problem. The water gets dumped out near the road
Cuts
and
right
washes
down.
the bank out. So they have a number of challenges over there to meet.
That's a tough job.
We took a series, about a dozen borings, and we found that there's a approximate 5-foot layer of silty, crappy material
Oh, great.
beneath the roadway. And once it got saturated last fall, that major storm we had in end of September, October 1st, it just took that one section down with it, slid all the way down to the river. And that's when the other 3 sections started showing major signs of failure. The second one being a little further to the south, which right now is a major failure. And what we're trying to do is we're gonna try to get rid of most of that bad layer of material. We can't get rid of all of it, but we'll get rid of most of it, put in stable material, and use a lot of geotextile or filter or fabric to reinforce the entire embankment.
And now
Riprap,
this is
the
still
slopes.
a temporary road
This is
fix, I
a
guess?
temporary fix.
Yep.
There has to be a major fix all the way from the Silver Bridge up to East Flat Hill Road, I guess it is,
Yes, South Flat.
South Flat.
What's the impact that small pond area has on this? Has that been there all the time, or did that accumulate over?
I don't know if that's been there all the time. That is a problem area. I think we haven't, that's not part of our study right now, but if and when they ever do River Road, the town ever gets to do the entire River Road, which probably would be from Silver Bridge all the way up to Purchase. That pond area you're referring to there's like a causeway going across. And right now, I think there could be upwards of 2 feet of asphalt at that location, because as it's sinking,
Gets filled.
I mean, it's really soft materials, that part of the lake bed, both sides, the roadway went right through it. And it's sinking over time, so they keep adding more asphalt. I mean, that's gonna have to be stabilized sooner than later too. But that's further off in the future. The game plan right now is, as Blake is saying, we wanna get the road open to traffic. And the temporary fix we're putting in right now, we're gonna monitor with some limited traffic on it, and even to the point where we may wanna have just permitted traffic, where it's cars only. Any trucks that wanna use it, we'll have to notify Blake's office of the town, and pull a permit for it, keep the heavy weight off of it. We're gonna monitor it on a monthly basis. The town will be taking measurements out there to see if there's any further movement, and if we see no further movement over a period of time, game plan is open it up to all traffic.
But in the meantime, you're recommending not opening it up, right?
Right.
Now, that's not us. So who makes that determination? Do you?
What's the question specifically, if it's open?
Semi-closing the road.
The Public Works will make that call.
That's what I thought, okay.
With our advice, our consultation, we'll jointly make the call on opening up the traffic.
Okay.
Also, for the commission's reference, we did receive our permit from First Light Friday of last week. So just wanted to share that with you too.
So I have not looked at this.
I haven't either.
Do we have actual plans on what you guys are gonna do, or?
Yes, you do. We submitted plans.
Okay.
Do you want to see them?
I don't have time to look at them now. Have you had a chance to look at the plans,
Yeah.
Marcinko?
Has anyone looked at the plans? Just curious.
They were part of the permit package.
Let's do it right now.
Let's do it now. Let's go over it now.
Let's do it right now.
Yeah,
These guys need an answer.
yeah, you need an answer. Let's do it.
So just curious, why is it a temporary fix?
Because the real fix it costs
Because
$40
they
million.
have- Because, well, that's part of it, and they have to monitor it for a while to make sure that it's going to be
It's worth fixing.
stable and usable before they
The
can
layer
really.
that came out, I think, is probably under the whole road.
Yeah.
And remember too, we're not replacing all of River Road. So we need to monitor all of River Road. So we're gonna, not only the areas that we're reconstructing, but we also need to monitor other potential failure areas, et cetera. It's all about life safety first, convenience next.
All right, let's see.
Come on over.
Profiles.
Oh, thank you.
Where's the collapse?
The whole thing is roughly 500 feet that you're working on, I think,
There are separate sections.
but overall.
Yeah, there's two basic sections. This is the initial failure area last October 1st.
That's the real,
That's the real one that slid all
it
down.
slid off into the.
Where the trees are now in the water.
The next failed area, which happened about a month later, was right here, where it actually ate half the road up. So half the road's missing. And this is being held up by some, I'll call it a guide rail retaining wall. Okay, DOT uses it on other, they had this on 67, heading into Roxbury. But what's ideal, we're gonna take this road profile down to get some of the weight off of that area, so it'll be a much more stable area even after we put the new material in.
Okay,
It'll
that's
be
good.
a better condition than the other two. The third area that occurred towards north. And that started probably sometime around December.
You mean to turn it over so it's right side up?
Yeah. Something like that.
She's a teacher, she can handle it.
Oh, my gosh.
And this one like the first two, started with a little crack, but then progressed, and it took away probably half the southbound lane on River Road. So, in consultation with First Light, we all decided to, well, let's just reinforce this entire area. The actual failed area was maybe half of what we show here, the center half.
But you're
But
gonna
we
go
took it a little
beyond that.
beyond that, just to make it.
What about the height? Are you gonna,
At this location,
All
the
these
road's
look-
staying the same height.
and the other ones?
Part of it's being
The other one, the ones further to the south, they're gonna be lowered quite a bit, about 4 feet.
Is that gonna increase the flooding from the river?
No,
No?
no, flooding's way down, we're way above flooding. One of the other reasons why we wanted to lower the profile at this area down was the initial stage of opening will be one-way alternating traffic. So we wanted enough sight lines so cars stopped on either side can see each other.
Right.
Whereas before they couldn't.
There's a crest in that,
So,
yeah.
it's stable enough to allow cars to pass? 'Cause
Yeah, it will be when we get.
I am not going over. Good luck. You guys are.
Only go towards, up the street, so you're against the other side.
You know how
I'll
they
bring my
test,
bike.
you know how they tested the bridges because no one would try them originally? They had Ringling Brothers bring in circus elephants
Driving over.
to
I
walk
mean, that's
across
sitting out there now.
to show that they could,
That's a lot of
yeah.
in your car.
And then people did it.
30,000-pound machine.
I mean, that's,
True story.
What's that?
that excavator's sitting on the outer lane.
So they're already laying a base?
That's a lot heavier in the car, so we're confident it's gonna work. And, we're lucky now that it's drying up. There hasn't been a lot of rain. Been a problem until-
I don't know what to say.
These,
And this is actually the worst, they're working on the worst location, which is this one.
these are your outlets for the
These are outlet-
stormwater?
These are existing outlets
Those
that
are
right
ex-
now are in poor condition, there's a lot of erosion. And this one in particular, I believe, no, this one, it's starting to eat back into the pavement. So we wanna put a splash pad, reform the outlet, put a splash pad in there, keep it from eating back into the embankment. Again, it's a temporary fix, but it's a solution right now to get it done.
This is a drop, one where you're dropping it down and outletting it further down the hill?
Yeah, this,
And is this whole thing new, or is this existing to begin with?
the outlet's new. I mean, the pipe is existing. And we're gonna take the pipe and just extend it down.
So is
But
that
we're
gonna-
not doing the other
Is that gonna lower
ones.
that pond a little bit?
No, that's not where the pond is.
Pond is way up the
That's way up the
river,
road.
way up, that's another mile up.
This is what we're showing here. We made a modification to this. This pipe will not be sitting on the slope, it's gonna be embedded in the riprap, so you won't see it.
Okay. And the other
And
two,
this is gonna outlet at elevation 110, which is First Light's jurisdiction,
yeah,
above the flood stage.
but the other two, you're not doing that.
Oh, we're gonna do all the ones, there are 4 locations we're gonna do this. Extend that down. There may be more.
Okay.
We may do them all if we have
So
enough
instead
money.
of
To prevent,
dumping it here,
Erosion
you're gonna
and
move it down
washing.
this way, closer to the river.
If there's enough money in the budget, we'll
But-
try to get all of them done.
But not those two.
Well, these two, it's not a steep embankment.
Okay.
It's a wooded area, which is fairly flat
All right.
compared to everything else.
Gotcha.
So we're just gonna modify the
Okay.
elevation, so.
so this material that caused the failure, that's just natural crumbled stone? Or was that part of the?
Sand.
That was part of road construction?
Sand and
Also,
fines.
we believe the town also deposited a lot of our road sweepings, built out the embankment.
Which is horrible building
The worst
material.
stuff you could use.
Totally unstable. Yeah.
Okay, so it was faulty construction.
So it's the town's fault.
Well, back when this road was built, that was the only way to get a road there. They just dumped a
Otherwise,
bunch
they
of
weren't
stuff
gonna
there
do
and drove it.
anything,
Yeah,
right?
that wasn't,
It's an old carriage trail.
it was never intended to be a road there.
No.
I know, that's why it's like,
For a
hopefully
couple of
it's
cows.
fixable.
Yeah.
So when you said temporary, what are you projecting the life of the repair will be?
This could last another 10, 15 years. That's what we're hoping
That's
for.
pretty good.
I mean, it's gonna take time. To fix the road properly, it's gonna cost $15 to $20 million. Okay, so the town has to start putting money aside, I
And
think.
how long does it take to do it?
15 to 20 years.
To spend that $15 million, how long is it gonna take to put all those things into effect?
Well, that's gonna take,
Do we
probably
have a,
two construction seasons.
Yeah, a couple, 3 years.
first thing is, the town has to find sources of
You have a
funding.
draft resolution?
It'll come back
You-
15,
You're not gonna put money away every year.
and by the time you get there, it won't be 15, it'll be
The thing
20.
they're gonna have to do, they're gonna have to, look for a special earmark from Washington, from FAA, from, Federal Highway, or maybe DOT at some program. Go to.
It would help.
Gary, could they stabilize the small area with sheet piles like they do down on the shoreline, pound them down?
That may be the permanent solution.
I mean-
We've been toying that quite a bit.
I see, and it's not as expensive as it looks. I watch what they do down in Clinton, and it takes poundings with the beaches and everything. Those are, it's incredible. They can take any impact. I mean, that seems like,
My
if you're
initial-
talking 500 feet,
My initial thought on a permanent solution would be a pile system, a
Yeah.
soldier pile,
yeah,
concrete plank lagging in between.
yeah.
Lagging will look like the sound walls they had on 84 in Waterbury. On the outside that you see from the river, it's gonna be textured concrete. Well, I mean, that's down the road, and that's for the bigger project.
That's not
We're
happening
spending that
now,
money.
okay.
Okay.
You're not stockpiling this, are you?
No stockpile.
Okay, so that we gotta,
No,
that we have to change.
The contractor is Stone, and I believe he's bringing everything up to this,
That's correct.
this yard up here.
Okay.
I think the stockpile reference was, I saw that in the plans as far as the construction sequence. So
Because we're not
if,
stockpiling it.
I'm not sure.
No,
It's, I have it highlighted on the site plan.
And the only stockpile they may have is, they may bring in a load of crap, dump it on the road, but then it's used right away.
Yeah, it's not
stockpiled.
Yeah, it's not
No,
stockpiled.
nothing permanent, nothing
Place
overnight.
in compact stock.
Just take stockpiled out.
Just take that right out of there. Please fill up the roadway subbase. Riprap sections, construct pavement sections.
And this all comes out.
In these areas that we're fixing, we're curbing both sides of the road, so we can catch
The water
the
and
water.
send it where you want it.
That's what we send it where we wanna send it, right?
Yep.
Does that work?
That works.
think
I mean,
so.
is
Yeah.
there a erosion control element to this?
Yeah, we have a silt fence out there, it's a very difficult site to work.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, I don't see it here, so that's why I'm questioning it, but like, how would you even
It's
do
in
it?
the contract, they
Well,
have
I don't
put
know.
a line of silt fence we're working now,
Mhm.
but it moves every day.
Yeah, well, I
Any
have to, yeah,
operation they
yeah.
have, so
No,
It's a very
The
difficult location.
erosion controls on one of the conditions to be in place while they're grading and working within that area.
okay. Yeah, that's a do the best you can sort of situation. No, I get it, that's fine.
And again, I don't wanna speak for Blake, but I invite you to go out there, see, it's a major operation.
It is,
Just don't take a car.
it is.
Yeah.
So when it's all said and done, is it gonna go back to semi-trucks and everything?
That's what we're hoping for.
Are gonna be allowed to go through there?
We're hoping they'll allow trucks to go
And this is
back.
still single
I mean,
lane traffic.
Well, we may open up two lanes, depends on after monitoring. If we don't see any movement of that outside lane, river lane.
So it'll be paved back out to two
It'll be
lanes,
paved out to two
Yeah.
lanes, yeah.
but initially it'll be single
Initially,
lane.
single lane,
Okay.
alternating one-way traffic, and when we have a comfort factor, where we don't see any movement over time, we'll open it up to two-way traffic. And open it up to any kind of traffic.
Weight limits, maybe?
Obviously, pardon?
Weight limits on the road?
There may be weight limits in the beginning, okay, but
That makes sense.
obviously, I mean, it does, that road does serve, or is the easy access to two major facilities,
Yeah.
Chippewa Dam and ComSat.
Yep.
And we wanna make sure we keep service to those two
Yep.
locations.
Yeah.
Based on what we've seen, just in the assessment of the road, these projects will actually be the most well-built portions of River Road.
I don't doubt that.
We're heading-
I don't doubt that for a minute.
We're heading into this with confidence that there's some longevity here. Good. But a much bigger picture to study for the town in the long term. Makes sense.
Okay, no,
Okay.
I'm happy with that.
Let's modify the draft resolution by deleting the references in the fourth whereas clause to stockpiling, because there won't be any stockpiling. Other than that, we have a motion to approve the draft resolution. Dan moves, second. Bob seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Have any volunteers who want to drive over it first?
Sure,
I'll
I'll
go
drive
over it.
over it first.
Yeah, I'm not afraid.
I'll walk
I can
over it
swim.
first, then I'll drive over it.
Bring my bike.
Bring the tractor down.
Donna's gonna
Jordan,
take her
thank
bike.
you.
It's not
Thank
you.
thank you,
Not a heavy
everybody.
bike.
Appreciate it.
Not bike, nice and light.
You're welcome. Good night.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay, we finished the old business, on to other business, aquifer regulations. Mr. Marcinko, anything we should know about aquifer regulations tonight?
So we're still at the same phase that we were previously. Jada's getting set to head out on maternity, so we are working on setting her up with a laundry list of items to essentially complete from a work-from-home standpoint. So it'll fill out some hours for her. We're gonna be able to get that necessary clerical work done, formulating reporting forms, formulating application forms, generating a inventory list. And then after that, it's just getting the regulations moved from a subset of zoning to be their own standalone regulations, and then we can begin with taking in permits and doing inspections and having a full-fledged commission.
Do you have any projected timeline for some of that to happen?
So we're looking to start the work from home beginning of August.
Okay,
So we'll be looking to get that clerical work done, so
end of the year?
June, July, or, yeah,
Okay.
yep.
I know that's not a hard date.
No, yeah, September, October, we should be looking at actually having some meaningful work completed and working towards getting this commission up and running is from the aquifer protection
Okay.
standpoint.
Good. Very good. Officers report? Ms. Bennett?
So there were two minimal activities approved. The first one was McMillan Park Bridge Conservation Commission. We received an application from them on June 6th in regards to reconstructing an existing footbridge to be 8 feet wide and 18 feet long. It was discussed with Vice Chairman about the project. They needed to get the work done for funding, so it was agreed that the application would be considered a minimal activity. So that was approved. The second one was 954 South Ford Road. On May 17th, we received an application for 120 square foot shed to be placed within the upland review area. A site visit was taking place on the same date, May 17th, to discuss the proposed shed's location. During the site visit, it was determined that there would be minimum disturbance within that upland review area and was administratively approved by the Land Use Department. And then we have here today the owner, applicant, proposed applicant for 308 Jeremy Swamp Road that we touched base on.
He
It's
hasn't given an
no
application.
application yet, but we're looking for the application to be discussed today on what the next steps would be. In regards to that, work that was done within the upland review area, which looked like there was trees cut down and vegetation clearing. It looked like they hayed and seed the area. And he's here if you guys want to speak with them more or if they have questions, but we're looking for that maintenance and restoration application from them to move forward with getting them compliant and permitted with the work that they did.
And everything's stopped at the moment?
To my understanding, yes.
Okay.
Just as a point of order, no work is proceeded. However, this commission will need to determine if an application or a show cause order as a result of enforcement needs to be the avenue that you guys go down.
I don't know enough about it to say anything.
Jada, do you want to elaborate on the conditions a little bit more for Bill?
Well, yeah, like I said, it was wooded area that there was some trees cut down. When I took a site drive by, I saw piles of tree debris, the vegetation, I'm not sure what type of specific vegetation it was, but it looked like wetland type vegetation was cleared out. You can delineate where it wasn't and was cleared out. And it was Hayden seed, that's what I saw. Within,
Vegetation was pulled out and grass was put back down in its place.
mhm.
About how big of an area we're talking about? Approximately.
40 by 70.
Can you come up? Yeah. State your name and address.
My name is Joseph Achenbach. I'm the representative for 308. It's actually my ex-wife's property. I know some of you were present last week, or a couple weeks ago, and kind of know the background on it. So basically, as a result of a fire she had at the house from a tree that had fallen into the lines, ripping them out of hers and the neighbor's house, we did some cleanup that's down there. Subsequent to that, I came in, I met with the commission. We had left off as I was going to work with her and go for the permit for the minimal activity. I think you had mentioned that. That's correct, minimal activity.
Yeah,
That's what you had said.
Yeah.
So that's the permit I had come in with, and apparently that got jumbled somehow, which I'd like to kind of hear those minutes back to make sure of that. But regardless of that, in looking at the permit that was supposed to be filled out, and then looking at the situation of the property, we kind of realized that there was a lot more going on there, in addition to what I had already been kind of worried about. So basically, at this point, we would like to have a permit at some point, but we would like to request that after a site meeting. We'd like that site meeting with your office, Public Works, who I just spoke with, and he told me to just follow up with him directly for his end. And we'd also like the Connecticut Department of Environmental Protection.
Good luck with that.
What was that?
That could be difficult.
I imagine so, but being that we have, a bunch of stormwater management issues there coming from the culvert system and the upgraded town drainage, it's actually causing significant erosion, significant sediment. It's redirected the path of the brook. There's at least 6 trees that are in the brook as it stands. The bottom of the embankment is missing completely, to the point a major tree is leaning across her driveway, right next to one that already fell that I cut up as part of the permit, not having a permit, I should say. And you could just see the bottleneck in the stream is loaded, and it's all sediment, and the next stage of that is it's gonna come back, rise, and it's gonna float her culvert. Being that she had a fire directly as a result of this washout, being that the neighbor had their driveway completely washed out right before this, it's just one after the other after the other. Being that part of Public Works even putting water into that area would require a DEP permit and an environmental impact study with the data included, that would include their office, correct? Because it's draining from the road into the wetlands, through houses that all have not really engineered bridges and culverts that were existing as it sat. Nothing was braced up. The riprap that was existing has been blown out down through whitewater. Like, we're talking whitewater comes up over the embankments to the part that it washes out the edge of her driveway, required me to put topsoil there to then fix that. Within the last 6 months, we have, from my calculations, at least 2 feet of missing embankment in this stream. Every time it rains, it changes the topography, and you can just look down and see it's a nightmare waiting to happen. And being that she just had a near, like, if she wasn't home, the house would have burnt to the ground. My 10-year-old son's there with her alone. It's not cool. I'm sorry, it's just not cool. And it's all directly from the stream. I can count minimum 4 catch basins that are dumping there. There's a potential that there's 12 or more there, all going to the wetlands, draining through the wetlands, every single one of those little 1-acre properties, right through the center of them. You've changed the trajectory of the stream, the topography, the hydrology of every piece of vegetation there. And every pollutant that's in that sediment and in that erosion that sits in that stream and leaches through there ends up where? So, for my ex-wife to be worried about her driveway floating away after the neighbors did, after she just had a fire, this is crazy. And I'm the one doing the cleanup on my dime, when legally, after like legal advice on this, I'm not responsible to go and clean up what you guys are flushing. I don't mean you guys, but you get my point. What's being flushed down the stream. And it's all artificial volume. I can't stress that enough. Her original deed labels this as a brook, you know, a brook, a natural brook that's now been overloaded, 24-inch pipe. And even with that, if you know anything about pipe and discharge, you got 24-inch pipe coming from catch basins going through 24-inch pipe culverts getting washed out, you know, and her neighbor just had it replaced, and it's millings, it's not even asphalt. And like, where's somebody checking this? Like, the next heavy rain, it's gonna take the millings faster than it took the asphalt. That's just fact. You can't change that. The next house up, the guy is literally raking topsoil to the stream all spring long because it keeps washing out and eroding. Everything he's putting in is coming straight down to our setup, to which now her culvert pipe has washed a hole so deep that my son can like literally stand in it up to like his eyeballs. And we have fish in it. We have fish in it. Out of nowhere, we have fish in this.
Sounds like a right
I'm sorry, but
disaster.
like, we need the meeting on site before I can go forward with any permit. And I have no problem getting a permit. I don't wanna encroach. I don't wanna do anything but alleviate like a serious problem. And the tree that wiped the wires is still there across the stream, and there's literally like 6 of the same tree right next to it. And you can see, it's wiping out a significant amount of the bottom of the embankment, and it's a pyramid just slowly melting away. So, at this point, I wanna work with everybody as much as I can, and I just wanna be able to sleep at night and have her sleep at night.
That's all,
And
that's what all them little brooks.
it's
do.
expensive issues that arise from this.
Well,
And legally, we have a right to address this. It is a DEP issue, it is a wetlands issue, it is a public works issue. And for me to be the one that's just getting required, the burden of the permit on this is ridiculous. I'm doing town cleanup, town maintenance for how many catch basins? We don't even know until we look at the road and drainage plans, until we look at the environmental impact study. We don't know anything about this. We don't know anything about it. All we know is that it's a brook that's white water to the top, exceeding its banks and just destroying everything in its path. And God only knows the house is downstream from us. God only knows.
Sounds like you get all the neighbors organized and
I'll tell you right now, if you guys were to go door to door, I guarantee you every one of our neighbors will say there's water problems, that the water volume has significantly increased, their property is eroded. Like, not one of them will tell you differently. And everyone has a bridge going through there. So even if you did an impact study on this, anybody that looks at that would be like, wait a minute, we got all these little crappy bridges and culvert driveways on 1-acre properties that are half wetlands. Why would we put more water there? Polluted water that's runoff from the road, salinated. I mean, 322 pages in the DEP, and you guys, every single thing is happening in that stream. It's not one thing. And as a result, it's major. It's fires and driveway washouts. This is major emergency stuff.
let's, we can't deal with most of that. What we
I
can do
understand.
is go out and take a look at it, so that we'll have some
That's what I
knowledge
would
of
really
what's
like
going
is
on.
the site meeting.
But I think it's, you know, he's got a right to maintain what he's got there, and I don't think it's a minimal activity, you know.
It's not
This is
minimal
up for debate, but in my opinion, it's not a minimal activity thing, because it's, you know, each one of those culverts could use some work, I'm sure. Never
And
mind
all the
the, you know,
bridges.
the trees that are undermined that are gonna come across the road. I mean, he has a serious situation where, you know, you have a fire starting from this. It's not that you shouldn't take care of it, you definitely need a permit, for sure. But the stormwater and all the issues related to the road, I mean, all that was going into that brook before any paving and culverts were put in and all that, so.
But when you artificially change the way that it's handled.
I don't
and then you
disagree.
You need to brace up. Like if they had rip-wrapped that culvert on both sides to handle that volume of water, completely acceptable. The embankments would still be where they were when they did the work. Being that they didn't, it's changed
Well,
everything.
As you can see, you were here
More
for
of an
the-
issue than just what we can deal with.
I understand.
That's,
Well,
of course you do.
Maybe when we go out to the site, we ask the gentleman from the Department of Public Works to go along. And then together we can decide how to get the
Absolutely.
DEP
And I
involved.
mean, honestly, he said he lives on Jeremy Swamp and he can understand what's going on there. So it's not like he doesn't get
What-
the
You
gist.
gotta keep in mind, we're getting storms now that are inch and a half storms, not tenth of an inch storms anymore. So this,
But-
the volume and the speed is what's changing the course of your,
With all due respect, though, you know, when things are engineered nowadays and any print, you know, you're going for 100-year effects, you're going for 50-year storm
When were the
effects. You're
houses-
not going for little changes.
when were the
You're going
houses
for
built?
over-engineering.
When were the houses built?
I believe 80s, 90s, maybe, could have been earlier. I'm not even sure. It's not necessarily the houses, it's the drainage that was changed and upgraded.
It's
The
absolutely the
drainage was done
houses.
when the houses were built.
And when was your house
Well,
purchased?
those driveways
I
in.
don't believe there was initially full drainage on the road, though, is what I'm saying to you, because the plastic pipe in the ground isn't gonna be original from that. The drains have been redesigned, and Jeremy Swamp went through pretty heavy
Well, Jeremy Swamp's
change,
pretty much a
including
disaster
curbing
all the
that didn't
time.
exist before. So when you have a crown in a road and you have water that's naturally shedding off a crown both sides through an entire area, it will shed water much differently than when you put a curb and direct it to an artificial drain and then connect them all together and put them into somebody's front yard. You have two different things there.
Yeah, we're familiar with some of
So
those
then you
issues.
understand where I'm coming from.
We'll take a
Could
look
have
at
been
it.
done differently. I don't mean to interrupt you. There's at least a half a dozen different solutions to that would have been comparable with money and bids and everything else.
Sure, and in
So-
1980, they weren't doing any of that.
But the road was done
So-
recently. And the washout.
The
was
road is
bad.
not recent, the road's been there forever.
He's saying the
Redone,
upgrades
the
or whatever
Yeah,
were done
that's true.
5 years
The
ago or
changes.
whatever it was.
The changes.
Well,
And how long have you had the home?
She's just had it, this year is when she had it.
So you don't actually know what the conditions were prior to
Well, like I
the
said,
curbing going in?
in 6 months, it's recessed on each side by a minimum of 2 feet. In
Right.
6 months.
And in 6 months, we've had more rain than any other year.
It still doesn't matter. You're still putting water through
So you're
there
not familiar with what the
artificially, and you have
conditions
not
were
put
prior to
anything there
this.
to stabilize
I just
it.
want to reiterate that you were not familiar with what the conditions were prior to you purchasing the house 6 months ago.
Short of all the trees that were existing down across and up and falling from the edges, it's pretty obvious to know. what the
Notwithstanding
conditions were.
what was
That stuff
obvious,
doesn't happen
I just
overnight.
want to reiterate that you were not familiar with the conditions of the roadway prior to this.
That's partially correct, but again, if you have eyes and you're anybody, and
That's
you
fair.
go there and look.
We
And
get
we
your
will go
point.
there and
See all
look.
the trees
We get your
falling,
point.
and they washed out, and then you're there for, you could be there for a week, and you get a storm, and you see it take half the river with you, and then you just do a little more investigating.
A lot of us have had issues like that over the past few years. We are sympathetic. We'll take a
Did
look
you
at
have
it.
a fire department at your house? Is your floor charred? Is your furnace burnt? Is every surge protector
I'm
in the
not
entire
saying-
house
I'm not
melted?
saying you don't have
It's
issues.
different.
That's not the
It's a
point.
serious, life-threatening issue. It's not like this is like a tree fell in the woods and he's upset and wants to encroach the wetlands. It's the
completely-
fire department showed up and had to go through every room and finally found a source of what was actually.
We
burning.
understand what you're saying.
Yep.
That's fine. A lot of it is, most of it is not something we can deal with directly. We have to work with the other parts of town and probably the state to work on that. Jada, would you mind seeing if you can coordinate a visit for some of us to get out there with
Yeah.
Public Works?
Mm-hmm.
You can try Deep,
can do
but
that,
let
yeah.
Public Works try that, because I don't think you're gonna get them out there.
And Joe, just as a point of order, you're not affiliated with the property physically, like you're not on the deed or anything?
No.
Okay. Moving forward, any correspondence that we're gonna have, we're just gonna need an authorization statement from the owner, just kind of authorizing you,
So that's perfect.
That would be good, too.
just so we have that in writing.
So, yeah, we're sorry that you're going through this. As I said, quite a few of us have had our own issues
well,
over time.
should we, so we're talking about having a site visit and then an application? Or
I
should we
think we
have an
should-
application
I think
and a
we
site
should-
visit at the same
I
time?
think we should get a site visit first and see what it looks like.
Okay.
There's no point in he's trying to come up with just engineered plans,
Well, he-
not know who's
Well,
gonna
and
be
I-
able to pay for
And I
it.
guess my question would be, what is it that you're proposing to do with the permit?
My part of things was just the cleanup, to make this where there's not trees that are hanging over her wires that were gonna cause her an issue.
I mean,
So,
going forward as well.
Going forward, there's nothing that we wanna do besides like the little tiny pile of brush we wanted to get out of there as the final cleanup. There's a little pile of logs that came from the wetlands that were rotten, that we piled to dry out to remove. We just wanna take that out. There's 3 trees, maybe 4, that are like, there's one very significant one that is directly from that goes right over the driveway and needs to be removed. There's a full log across the stream from a fallen tree that needs to be removed. There's the tree that fell from the fire that needs to be removed.
Well,
There's
there's-
5 logs past that, damming it, needs to be removed.
And is that something you're proposing to do, is what I'm asking?
I would like to do what's on our property, and anything that's from that point on, I believe is Public Works, for all the sediment and erosion that's clogged it all up.
Well, I guess going forward to the site meeting, kind of have a list of the things that you think you're going to do or want to do or should do or whatever that case is.
Yeah, and that's what I have brought for the other permit, so that's
Okay.
basically what I have.
Yeah, and that's fine. Just, moving forward, so when we go out for a site visit, we can see what you're
Can look
talking
at
about
it and see.
and the things that you're proposing to do. That's all.
Absolutely.
All right, so we'll,
Thank you.
And have
They'll
you,
schedule
have
a-
you called Deep?
I have not yet.
Call Deep.
I've been advised to try to handle it,
No,
and.
no, don't do that.
But,
Call Deep. You're gonna talk to Public Works here. That would necessarily involve the town if they decide they wanna do anything. Somebody has to pay for it.
Yeah.
If some of it is within the purview of Deep, they want to know. So they may not do anything, but you can at least try to contact them. It's worth a call, or
Well,
2,
that's-
or 3.
what I was advised is that it's going to come back to the permit that would have been required for Public Works to actually put water into there, which, from what I understand, is a deep permit that I guess either your office or Public Works, I don't know how it works.
this, we don't even know when that would have happened.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's
It's a,
I think that it's only new construction.
It is only new construction.
yeah, so that may not exist, is I think what we're saying, but
Yeah.
not to say that you couldn't look for that, but all that flow went into that brook in one way or another. I realize you have, you've channeled it in some way, but it was all there to begin with, and it's still all there now.
Yeah.
Whatever rain comes out of the sky.
The other
So-
thing is, if you go through Deep, you actually might be able to get them to send somebody out and get some money.
Well, at
It's
the
not
end of the
impossible,
day,
unlikely,
at
but
the
not
end of the
impossible.
day, when we go over and we look at what the Connecticut Judicial Branch, Superior Court Operations, Judge Support Services, Law Library Service Unit says, is that common law is you're directly responsible for putting artificial volume in there and having, let's see how they word it, in a manner that causes the least damage to the affected land.
Yeah,
So being that
that's
none of it
nice.
has been supported.
Do you
in place,
have $50,000 to sue the state? Because that's what you're talking
Well,
about.
hopefully it's not 50,
It
but
will probably be more.
honestly, that money comes back when you're right. So hopefully it's not 50, and we don't have to go that route, but.
Well, that's what I'm suggesting. That's not helping you
We
any.
don't wanna go that route.
Call them up, talk to them, see if you can get them to come down and participate, and if they can work with the town and with you, get something done, that's
And
better
another
for
thing
everybody.
is, I wanna protect the wetlands too. So when I have erosion and sediment and wetlands, she owns those wetlands. That's her property. So if it's shit and it's settling in her yard and draining through her property and changing her topography,
I know it'd be
We're
nice to
sympathetic.
have a map of how many basins
that's
actually.
what I want, at least to
Has to
see
be
exactly how much the volume is. We know it's to the top and
It has to be
flooding,
engineered.
but how many basins are going through there is the question, yes.
I mean, the problem, in my opinion, is all those driveways going across getting washed out in one way or another, and trees, obviously. And if that's it's overloaded, then you've got small culverts backing up flow, and there's a lot of issues there. And that, you're not the only house with that, I mean, you know that, but it's, changing the culverts isn't gonna change that situation.
At the very least, adding riprap and bracing up what's there, and
like removing the damn section. At
And
the
maybe
very
that's
least,
and maybe that's a conversation that we end up having, but,
Yeah.
you know,
No,
when
I-
it
I
comes down to, you know, what we're talking about tonight, I think, you know, we gotta have some sort of plan and permit in place, and a site visit to show what it is you wanna do or don't wanna do.
And it will
I
help a
just
lot
don't
for
wanna
us to
be
take
a year
a
from
look
now,
at it.
and I don't wanna have to come back to this commission and be like, hey, guess what? You know those trees I was talking about? Well, this time we weren't home, and now the house is ashes. That's what I'm
Yeah,
not
we can
looking for.
we can deal with that part
At
of
the
it.
very least, the house not being ashes.
We can help you deal with that
So-
part of it. The broader scope, you understand, is nothing
Yeah,
we can do.
I got you. I
But
understand.
we'll try to help.
Alright.
Thank
So-
you.
Yeah, like number the tree, get a map, number the trees, or tag them in some way so that they're easy to see, and when we go out there, we'll
Put
see
some
it.
surveyor's tape around them if
Yeah,
that's,
absolutely. I'll mark and paint right out. The
Whatever.
ones that are there that I want to remove are like dead top to bottom.
That's fine.
that generally
Mark.
doesn't pose
The
a
one
problem.
that's
so we know.
alive and leaning is, you know, a little different, but.
Just mark them up and we'll talk about it when we see it.
Does that work?
Works.
Okay.
Good, thank you. Sorry you're going through
Thank
it.
you.
It's a
Thank
problem.
you.
I appreciate your
I
time.
will say though, we are having, because of the excessive amounts of rain we're getting, it's all over town.
The bridges in town, River Road, I mean, there's really no shortage of examples.
Yeah, my yard.
It's hills. I understand.
Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll see you sometime in the next couple of weeks, I'm guessing.
I'll wait here for timing.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
417 8743.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, just let me know a couple days ahead of time. Perfect. Thank you.
Bills and receipts.
So we have $337 from April and May,
In or out?
and receipts,
Okay.
applications, and
Very good.
copies.
Correspondence? Anything? Even better. Minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second?
I'll second
I
it.
wasn't here, so, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Any other business?
Just wanted to bring attention that Jen Fenn is no longer with the Inland Wetland Commission. She resigns, just
Got your
bringing
note
the
on that.
commission up to
If
full.
anybody knows anyone who'd like to volunteer, we could use another member or two. I have a matter. Ms. Bennett will not be here for a while. What are we going to do as a stopgap while she's out?
So we have Mark Cody, who you appointed as a assistant zoning
Be aware
enforcement
that this is
officer.
coming up.
I do.
He asked me today, so.
Mark is not going to be operating daily as our inland wetlands enforcement officer. In the event that the land use department needs additional assistance, Mark is gonna be stepping in. For the most part, we're just gonna be carrying the load that's left behind
Yeah,
and carrying
that's-
on as business as usual.
I guess unavoidable.
Correct, and putting it on Mark's plate, who's doing more building permits this year than ever before in Southbury isn't really feasible, but he's
Really?
available if we need him, and I can't ask for much more than that.
Okay, nope, that's fair enough. Thank you for having it taken care of, both of you, all three of you, appreciate it. Anybody else have any items to discuss?
No.
No? Bad? No? Okay. Have a motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Nice to be back.
Good to have you.
See you all.
Take care. Aren't some of those houses down there pretty old? I don't mean eighties, nineties, aren't some like twenties and thirties?
We are like, all right.
broken to us.